Last week on Pelican's Ultimate Match Fishing, Dave Lefebvre easily cruised past Brandon Palaniuk to join Larry Nixon and Jacob Wheeler in the semifinals. This week, former UMF champion Boyd Duckett clashes with the number 2 rated angler in the world, Bryan Thrift, who will become the 4th and final angler to make it to the semifinal round. You're about to find out. Pelican's Ultimate Match Fishing starts right now.
Woo! And you talk about a game changer. That's all I got. From Blue Water Lodge on Chickamauga Lake in Ray County, Tennessee, I'm Joe Thomas, along with Fish Fishburne, and this is Pelican's Ultimate Match Fishing. We've had 3 anglers so far qualify into our semifinal round, and Fish, today we go for number 4.
I'm ready for this. North Carolina against Alabama. We've got Bryan Thrift. This kid's on fire. Let me tell you something. 10 years fishing, he's won over $1 million. He is a special, special angler. Follow his career. He's going to go up against that Demopolis, Alabama, Boyd Duckett 2007 Bassmaster Classic champion.
A returning UMF champion.
From 2009.
Fish, this is going to be good, but it all starts with the coin toss.
Bryan and Boyd, welcome back to Ultimate Match Fishing. Who's going to call it?
I think I will.
Call her in the air, Boyd.
Heads.
It is tails. Bryan.
I'll take second and fourth.
Second, fourth, first, and third. Good luck, guys.
There you go.
Boyd, good luck.
Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So there you have it. Boyd Duckett will be in control of the boat in the first quarter.
Let's take it to the lake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Bryan, I think he's ranked way up, number 1 angler in the world, I believe, on Bass Fan World Rankings, or he was, or somebody told me he was. I don't know. You take an old dog like me and put him up against one of these new young anglers, it's always a fun show.
As far as past experience, bottom line is still fishing. I want to win, and it doesn't matter how you go about it as long as you catch bigger fish than your competitor. It doesn't matter. We're going to have some fun today, and maybe we'll both learn something.
Are we ready?
Our match is now underway. Boyd Duckett took control of the boat and traveled all the way to Sail Creek. He traveled about 20 miles, but he used his free run time to get here, which was very wise. And he's fishing a large offshore flat. Boyd, tell me a little bit about what you're fishing here.
Well, you basically just have, it's just a big flat and a good spawning area, and these fish are staged up out here on the, just basically on the flat. They get little areas for whatever reason. There's a couple fish here in practice, but there doesn't seem to be one here this morning.
Both Boyd Duckett and Bryan Thrift are UMF veterans. As a matter of fact, Boyd is returning champion, so they have a lot of experience in this format. But I wonder how it'll play out on Lake Chickamauga. Let's take it over to our resident expert and former UMF competitor, Andy Morgan, to get his take on it. Andy?
Joe, experience goes a long way here in UMF, as you well know. I know some of these veterans, they have a little better strategy possibly, and I know they're going to set some guys down off their previous knowledge, how to pick the pattern, how to pick the areas that you fish so it's defendable. Very important in UMF, you have to pick an area and a technique that you can defend, because all these guys can bust them. All these guys can catch them. They're going to catch them behind you if you give them just one little cast. So defend, defend, defend.
I can't believe I can't even catch a keeper off a bridge.
Losing the coin toss was a big deal today, and I knew it was going to be. We had that front come through, and the morning bite has not been the deal, especially for the type of open water schooling fish that I'm fishing for. I really didn't want to have to fish the first period.
Fish on, it's like, oh!
1 or 2 fish makes all the difference in the world in this. I've fished it before. I've learned to slow down and manage the format some, but I kind of had an unfortunate first period.
It's interesting to watch these guys. These guys are so experienced. He's dealing with these very short 1.5 hour quarters, and he's made several adjustments. And I think the biggest thing right now is if he can just get a couple bass in the boat, it'll maybe tell him something, so when he does get control in the third quarter, it'll give him a little bit to go on.
There's one.
Fish on in front of the boat. 5 minutes left, and he's got a good one.
God dog it.
Oh, no.
Come on.
I saw that fish flash, and that was a good one.
But man, when all that happens, it's such a short time period. You're constantly trying to make adjustments. You just do the best you can, and next thing you know, the whistle blows.
End of the period. Boyd Duckett literally struggled the whole quarter. And when he does get 2 good bites, he loses both of them, and they're both big. I can only think about what's going through his mind right now. He has left the door wide open for Bryan Thrift. Don't go away. Bryan will be in control in the second period.
Maybe Bryan will teach me how to catch them, and I'll whack them in the third period.
But I kind of had an unfortunate first period.
Fish on. It's like, oh, no.
Especially the way it ended up ending.
Oh, no.
No doubt, first period was not the one I wanted.
That's awesome.
You know, you just do the best you can, and next thing you know, the whistle blows.
All right, Bryan, go start with your dropper in gear, bud.
After Boyd lost the coin toss, took that first quarter, and his fish didn't bite, that had me concerned with what I knew I wanted to do starting the second quarter, which is my first period on the front of the boat. And I knew the place that I intended to start on, there was a creek channel there, there was a slight 2-foot drop, and it had a few stumps littered on it. And I was thinking, you know, if those fish were up on that flat, that maybe the cold front backed them off to the edge of that drop, just give them a little more security, somewhere to hang out until the weather gets back right for them to pull back up on the flat.
Welcome back to Pelican's Ultimate Match Fishing. I'm Joe Thomas here with referee Mark Randolph, and our second quarter is now underway, and Bryan Thrift is in control of the boat. Now, Bryan moved about 10 miles south on the lake. He's run nearly to the back of Possum Creek. And one thing I'm noticing right now is this water has a lot more stain in it than any other place we've seen so far. And he's flipping a jig in some lay down trees. Let's see what happens. Fish on back of the boat. Oh, looks like a keeper. Boyd strikes from the back of the boat. That's definitely a keeper. It's going to be number 1 for Boyd Duckett.
Yeah, when you're on the front of the boat in UMF, the last thing you want to feel is that boat shift and turn around and see the guy bowed up on one on the back deck. And that's exactly what Boyd did to me the second quarter. And Boyd's a big guy, and that big white rod's doubled over. I'm like, man, this is not good for me. So,
Well, you know, I caught a 15-incher. More than I caught my whole first period. How about that?
Fish on for the boat.
right now, I think with the low water we have on Chickamauga, you've kind of got two groups of fish that have got two different things on their mind. You've got one group over here that I feel like wants to be around bait. They still want to be in a wintertime pattern. And then I feel like you've got another group that's away from that. They're wanting to stage up for pre-spawn, get ready to go do their thing up shallow. The days are getting longer. We've got trees blooming, birds are chirping.
Keeper number one in the live well for Bryan Thrift.
And I feel like that spot where I'm fishing it's a great place for both groups to be. We've got bait in the area, plus it's a migration route for a fish from the lake back to the flat to where they're going to spawn.
Fish on. There we go. Looks like a little better fish here.
Oh, yeah.
This is a good one for Bryan Thrift. This is a big bass right here. He needs this one. Slings him in the boat. Holy cow. Number 2 for Bryan Thrift. We're really starting to see this action pick up in the second quarter, and I love Bryan Thrift to death. I love his demeanor. It's like, so Bryan, what's here? And he's like, well, I'm not really sure, but I think there's a creek channel, and there might be a few stumps. Hey, I'm telling you right now, this is drawdown, textbook Tennessee River, Lake Chickamauga. When you've got low water level, a lot of these fish are wanting to come to the backs of these creeks. And we're at the back of a major feeder tributary. But what you have to have is some type of a depression. And he's got a little feeder ditch, a little feeder creek that he's running the edge of. And it does have stumps on it. And what he's doing is bouncing that crankbait off of it. It is a textbook early spring technique, and he's got it going on. Fish on back of the boat.
I was worried about that. That's probably a big one too.
Uh-oh. This looks like it might have some meat on it. And he's got it on the end of a long cast. That is the bad part about fishing open water. Oh yeah, it's a big one. That's the bad part about fishing open water like this. The guy in the back of the boat has just as good a shot.
Yep.
Trying to keep him pegged on that lipless crankbait. Oh yeah, another good bass for Boyd. That's number 2. And he choked
no
it.
good.
All I needed was a good guide.
Brian had some fish. There's no doubt that school was somewhat active. You know, certainly better than where I had started. You know, that's a big bay, man. There's a lot of fish in that bay.
So Boyd, tell me about it. Oh, you got another one?
Yeah.
Another fish.
And it looks like another decent fish.
All right, this sucks.
Holy cow.